Part 2 of the Ordinance. Payment, including improvements to the payment terms of the contract. Division 2 of Part 3 of the Ordinance defines what a payment dispute is. This is closely related to Part 2 and is introduced here together. The Ordinance provides that a party who has carried out work or supply under a construction contract is entitled to serve payment claims. The contractual parties still have a wide degree of freedom to agree on the number of payments, payment interval, and the basis of valuation for the amount payable that best suit their needs. For example, the contractual parties can agree on the payment terms such as monthly payments, milestone payments, or a one-off lump sum payment upon completion of the project. Let's now explain the requirements of the Ordinance on payment response and payment time, and when will a payment dispute arise. The entire timeline begins when the claiming party serves the payment claim, that is day 0. So, when exactly can the claiming party make a payment claim? There are two situations. First, if the contract specifies a date to serve a payment claim, the claiming party should follow the contractual date to serve the payment claim. Secondly, if a contractual date is not specified, the claiming party can serve the payment claim on the last day of a calendar month in accordance with the Ordinance. However, if the contract provides for a claim handling procedure for a claim for any additional payment, for example variation orders, the claim handling procedure must be completed before a payment claim for the additional payment is served. If the contract does not specify a period within which the claim handling procedure has to be completed, and the paying party does not complete it within a reasonable time, the claiming party can serve a payment claim and initiate adjudication, where appropriate, in accordance with the Ordinance. When the claiming party makes a payment claim in accordance with the terms of the contract or the Ordinance, the paying party is required to make response. The requirements on payment response are as follows. First, if the contract specifies a timeline for making the payment response, the paying party should follow the contractual timeline to serve the payment response, but the contractual timeline must not exceed the 30 days time limit as provided in the Ordinance. Secondly, if a contractual timeline is not specified, the paying party should serve the payment response within 30 days from the date the payment claim is served. When the 30 days payment response deadline, or an earlier day as specified under the contract, expires, there are three scenarios. Scenario 1, the paying party does not serve a payment response. Scenario 2, the paying party serves a payment response, but the admitted amount is less than the claimed amount. Scenario 3, the paying party admits an amount payable in a payment response. In the case of scenarios 1 and 2, the claiming party can refer the payment dispute to adjudication within 28 days. For example, if the claiming party claims an amount of $900,000 in the payment claim, but the paying party only admits an amount payable of $500,000, if the contract does not specify an earlier payment response deadline, then a payment dispute on the $400,000 difference arises on the 30th day. The claimant can serve an adjudication notice to refer the payment dispute to adjudication on the 31st to 58th day, that is within 28 days, for the adjudicator to make a determination on the disputed amount of $400,000. Scenario 3 is that the paying party has admitted an amount payable in the payment response, but fails to pay the admitted amount by the payment deadline of 60 days, or an earlier day as specified under the contract. If the contract does not specify an earlier payment deadline, a payment dispute arises on the 60th day and the claiming party can refer the payment dispute to adjudication within 28 days of the arising of the payment dispute. Using the above example again, if the paying party fails to pay the admitted amount of $500,000 by the payment deadline of 60 days, the claiming party can refer the payment dispute to adjudication on the 61st to 88th day for the adjudicator to make a determination on the outstanding payment of $500,000. For Scenario 3, the claiming party is also entitled to suspend or slow down the progress of the work or supply. There are two things to keep in mind. First, the occurrence of scenarios 1 and 2 indicates the arising of a payment dispute only. The claiming party is not entitled to suspend or slow down the progress of the work or supply. The right to suspend or slow down progress can only be exercised when scenario 3 arises. Secondly, if the paying party fails to serve a payment response before the deadline, he is not permitted to raise any set-off, such as deduction of liquidated damages, in the adjudication proceedings in relation to the payment claim. When making a payment claim, the claiming party should note that, first, the payment claim must be in writing, identify the construction work or related goods and services to which the payment relates and state the claimed amount and how it is calculated. Second, only one payment claim can be served for a particular progress payment. If more than one payment claim is served by the claiming party, the paying party can disregard the payment claims other than the first payment claim. Third, the payment claim must not include in a payment claim any amount under adjudication or adjudicated amount determined in adjudication proceedings. When making a payment response, the paying party should note that, first, the payment response must be in writing, identify the payment claim to which it relates and states the admitted amount, the difference between the admitted amount and the claimed amount and how the admitted amount is calculated. Second, the payment response can be amended before the payment response deadline. Third, a certificate or assessment issued under the contract that meets the requirements of the ordinance is taken as a payment response. The ordinance prohibits conditional payment provisions, including pay when paid or other provisions with the same effect as pay when paid. Pay when paid refers to subcontract conditions which stipulate that even if the claiming party has already completed the works or provided the services, he can only receive the payment after the paying party has received payment from the upper-tier contract. After the ordinance comes into effect, even if the contract contains conditional payment provisions, they are not enforceable. For the sake of clarity, the term conditional payment provisions is clearly defined in the ordinance and does not include, for example, such conditions requiring subcontractors to complete works in accordance with the contract specifications. Conditional payment provisions are void with no exception to nominated subcontracts. Even though the nominated subcontractor is specified by the owner, the actual parties to the contract are the main contractor and the nominated subcontractor. The main contractor cannot refuse payment for the value of the relevant work done by the nominated subcontractor on the grounds that payment from the client has not yet been received. Conditional payment provisions are void even if the reason for non-payment is due to the insolvency of any upstream parties in the construction supply chain. For example, if the main contractor becomes insolvent, the subcontractor cannot refuse payment to the subcontractor for the value of the relevant work done on the grounds that he is unable to recover the payment from the main contractor to pay the subcontractor due to the main contractor's insolvency.